Hey, welcome back to Evil's Comics. This guy right here is Evil Mike, or Mike if you prefer, and I got a review for you. From Source Point Press, this is The Curse of Cleaver County. It's a one-shot, double feature. It's got 2 stories inside. We'll get into the different stories as I touch base with the stories, since they're written and done by different people. But before we get started on the review, please like, comment, subscribe on this guy's channel. All that really does help, especially the comments. I love the interaction. So it's a one-shot, and normally I don't do one-shots. If they sometimes I do, and nothing wrong with the one-shot, but specifically in a horror anthology, it's not really what you would kind of, want from a horror anthology. I mean, that's what it means, is multiple, mini stories. Supposedly the way this was told to me was this is the beginning of their horror anthology. They're going to start it off as a one-shot, and they're going to start doing all these little one-shots, but they're all based on urban legends and Pulp Fiction, that kind of thing. I'm a huge fan of urban legends, especially American urban legends, or any urban legends. So that's kind of why I picked it up. So let's get into it. So the first story is called Shank, and it's actually about the guy on the cover here. It is written by Garrett, Gunn, art and colors by Kit Wallis, and then letters by Lentz. And actually, out of the 2 stories, this was definitely the better one. Both the art is fantastic. They're decent, but for me it's fantastic. But the first story is definitely the better one. So they start off in Port Harlow, and it's basically a couple, and they're kind of chilling on this boat out in the sea, out by the port, basically. The guy's like, hey, it's April 14th, don't you know this day? And his girlfriend's like, no, I really don't. And so he tells this story about this longshoreman about 150 years ago at the same, the Harlow town. They basically tell this story about this guy that comes, and his name is Harlow Winslow. It's this guy right here, or over here. But he's a big guy, a longshoreman that works with a hook. Eventually, he gets established in the town, and he falls in love with the mayor's daughter, shown here, which turns out to be his biggest mistake. They end up, because of stature and status, they have to have a secret relationship and taboo kind of thing, and it lasts for a while. But eventually, the mayor kind of gets wind of it and hires a private investigator and catches them. The mayor finds out that the two are romantically together, and what's a mayor gonna do? Well, he hires some guys that work on the dock, and they basically kill the guy. But they don't just kill him. They what did they say? They tie him with bags of grain. They put that bag over his head, and they tie a hook to his hand, and they basically throw him out into the sea, supposedly never to be seen again. But as the story continues, once every year on the anniversary of his death, supposedly he reappears at the port looking for anybody related to the people that killed him. And the girlfriend is like, well, there happens to be everybody in Harlow Port, because supposedly everybody's linked back to these original. So at first, the girlfriend's really turned on by the story, and they end up making out. The guy's like, all right, look, I'm going to go get a beer from the cabin, and I'll be right back. She ends up spending some time, making herself a little more pretty and stuff, and then all of a sudden she hears a thud. And she instantly screams out, hey, Chad, and she's like, why are you messing around? She goes down there, and the beer thing's open. She hears another sound, and as she hears another sound, she turns around, and sure enough, it's the hooked horror of Harlow is what they call him. But it's just her boyfriend messing with her, and finding out that she's kind of turned on by monsters and serial killers. He kind of took the occasion, and well, sure enough, they do hear something behind them again. Trying to get my camera to focus. And this time she doesn't fall for it, and saying, I'm not gonna fall for that stupid stuff. And sure enough, this time it's not a gag. The hook ends up landing right in the guy's head, pulling out his brain. And you get to see the real hooked horror of Harlow, basically killing the boyfriend like instantly. The girl ends up trying to take off and run. She hops over and makes it to the docks and takes off running. The hooked Harlow does what he does best. He sends out a hook, hooks her in the shoulder, just basically drags her back to him. And the last thing we see from this story is, she's screaming, please stop, and then the last thing she gets out is and it looks like she's going to be killed right here. And that's the end of this story. The second story is called The Dareville Devil, and basically we start, I'm getting too fast. It is written by Joshua Werner, art and colors by Keyla Vallerio, and then letters by Dave Lentz. Okay, so the Dareville Devil. We were out in the woods again in Harlow County, and we are with it looks like 4 individuals that just robbed a bank, or not a bank, but they robbed like some kind of charity function. They end up making it out with like millions of dollars. They're kind of in the woods just waiting for the cops to die down and stuff so they can move on with their lives and go live their $1 million happiness. As they are kind of chilling with their warm beers and now their newfound riches, one of the guys asked if they know about this famous serial killer that happened to be from like Cleaver County, and it's like a town that's right next to him or something like that. The story goes that there is a guy named Ransom Sullivan, and Ransom Sullivan, like, they end up finding out this guy was a serial killer. The cops go out to this guy's location, and they found nothing but bodies, dead bodies, and all kind of stuff, like black magic and mutilated bodies and sacrifices and stuff like that. As the story is going on, we get pictures of, like, this guy practicing some of that dark magic back in, when he was killing people and stuff like that. While supposedly at the end of the story the serial killer was never caught, one of the members of the group ends up going out to take a piss, and as soon as he does, he ends up stepping on a bear trap, and quickly right after that somebody goes to check to see if that guy's okay, and he gets shot in the neck with a bow and arrow. They kind of go back to this with this guy performing like like a black magic ritual, and eventually he does this ritual, and he does summon let's see, Malphus, I think it is, and they show you Malphus right here. But basically he states like, hey Malphus, I've summoned you because I'm asking for like undying life, and I want to keep killing in your name, kind of thing. And at first Malphus is kind of annoyed that this guy summoned him, but after like hearing his what he's done and what he's capable of, Malphus actually agrees and tells the guy that yes, I will accept your offer, you're gonna work for me. Now, he was like, you will be undying, but on top of this, everybody that you kill are going to join, my ranks back in hell, kind of thing. He was like, bring the guilty to me, type thing. We go back to the camp, and 2 of the guys are already, like, dead and injured, but the girl in the group, she ends up, the smart one, she brought a gun, she ends up firing out in the woods. To no avail, because as she's firing, someone creeps up and just stabs her in the head. They go back to like the ritual and stuff, saying that like basically Malphus, he shows up and he's like, well done. Well, you find out who the killer is at the end of it. If you go back, it's this guy right here, and if you go back to the campfire, he was kind of there hidden, he was in the background. It looked more like decorations type thing, but yeah, that is the second story. I mean, he ends up killing all the other robbers, and they just show the scene right here with Malphus calling him the Dareville Devil, and that's basically it. I love this issue. I hope that we do get a continued, like, you know, these kind of Pulp Fiction, urban legend style comic books from One Sword Press. Source Point Press. I'm sorry, One Source. Source Point Press. I think it would be fantastic if they do that. I mean, we already do have a couple other anthologies, but they are just horror anthologies. Creepshow, the R.L. Stein Stuff of Horror, Stuff of Nightmares. But this would be fantastic if we can get like urban legends or, you know, stuff like that. They'd have me as a customer. I can tell you that. But hey, that's my review. Let me know what you thought about this fantastic one shot. I know a lot of people probably did not pick this up. It was on my list, but very small at the bottom, and I was very happy to get it. I didn't think my shop was going to have it. But please let me know what you thought about the two stories. If you read it, you know, what about this whole like urban legend thing? Let me know what you feel about it. Alright, that's all I got for you guys. I'll have some more reviews coming. Be on the lookout for those, and I will see y'all soon. Bye.